Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I get to sit here with my beautiful wife and do a radio program. I couldn't be better. I mean, seriously. Awesome. We even have a really cool Dear John letter coming up later in the program. Now, for those of you who don't know how the Dear John letter game works, here's how it works. You send a Dear John letter, and Heidi will tell you her advice, which is usually just leave them alone. So, I don't know if that's going to apply today, but we'll see. If you'd like to submit a Dear John letter, or if you'd like to read the one that was posted early this morning, Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show is the page that we used for that. Now, we have our quote for the day from Larry Ellison. It says, both my mother and I were determined that we weren't going to stay on welfare. We always worked toward doing better, toward having a better life. We never had any doubts that we would. I like that.
I don't know who that is.
Well, he's a guy that was no longer on welfare.
That's
so,
super.
It doesn't say who he is. But for those of you who know him, now you know. Coming up here in a bit, we've got some special things going on today. We'll tell you about that before you know it.
John and Heidi.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free discreet shipping.
Call 800-296-1289 or learn more at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Thursday, November the 9th. Today is International Day. Tempranillo? I don't know what that is.
I don't know either.
They need a day to let people know. It's also World Freedom Day. I know what that is. Freedom is a good thing.
Freedom is amazing.
Yeah, and it's also Kristallnacht tonight. So, all of that. Let's just talk about World Freedom Day.
I have no clue what any of those things are. It's like, okay.
I don't know. But they're important because they're today. So, this is the time of year we have a lot of different holidays coming up here before you know it. Like, there's a ton of holidays between now and the end of the year that are, like, really popular holidays. Mm-hmm. And then there are also weird ones like the ones we talk about. But every day there's some kind of holiday. So, celebrate today with World Freedom Day. We'll be back with more fun stuff on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Boy. IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the Tax Doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guarantee. You may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe.
See if you qualify. 800-649-0142. Learn more at radiosavings.com. Get your brain on drugs coming up. Now, kind of a weird story. It says states are cracking down on people with fake service animals. What? What does that mean? So is it a fake animal? So they have like a seeing eye dog that's a stuffed dog?
Or they have just a pet that they call a service animal so they can
okay.
take them into restaurants.
So they're like, oh, it's my
service dog.
So how does that work? Because I know there are people who need service animals, and I don't understand why somebody would just say, well, hey, I want to hang out with my dog, so I'm going to say I need a service animal. How do you know if you qualify for that? That doesn't... So it says states are cracking down on people with fake service animals. How do
Maybe
they know
you have
if
to
it's
have
fake?
some kind of a permit.
I don't understand how
like
that
if
works.
they would ask you, hey, is that really a service animal? Let me see your permit. Maybe that's what they're looking at doing. And then if you don't, then you get a fine or something. Because you're not supposed to just take pets into restaurants and stuff unless it is a service animal.
Okay.
So I think people maybe are taking advantage of.
Well, I guess
of
states
that.
are cracking down on it, so we're going to have to quit pretending our dogs are service animals. Our dogs are worthless service animals anyway. All right, coming up, we got your brain on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Each day at this time, we talk about people doing dumb things under the influence, but addiction is no laughing matter. If you or someone you know needs help, there's a toll-free number you can call.
1-800-438-0380.
That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline.
1-800-438-0380.
And this is your brain on drugs. Jeremy Van Ert, age 38, got locked in a store's beer cooler overnight.
Oh, my gosh.
How much would you like that? So he did what came natural. He started drinking. Employees didn't know that he was in there until he ran out without paying. He had no idea the store's cooler had a lock that automatically triggered at midnight, so he got trapped in there until about 6 a.m. So he decided to make the most of a bad situation by drinking his way through the night. He got quite a bit of inventory in his belly before he took off in the morning. He says when employees say when they opened the door, he came running out and left without paying for an 18-ounce bottle of beer and 3 cans of malt beverage that he had consumed while he was in there.
I'm sorry, but if they have a flawed system on their door, they should have been paying him.
Well,
They were because he didn't pay for 3 beers that he drank to
You can say some of that on the radio.
get
Calm
him
down,
through the
Heidi.
night.
Calm-
That is ridiculous.
Employees called police. They said they caught him. What's odd is the cooler has a glass door, and he was cited for retail theft and damages to product for falling over a stack of 30 beer cans, breaking 3 cases open. So it has a glass door. While they were still in the store, he could have actually knocked on the door and been let out. But he was like, well, heck, I'll just stay in here all night and drink. So they're saying, no.
No, I really don't think he intended to stay in there all night and drink because he only drank 3. I mean, if he was if his whole goal was to sit in there and drink and drink and drink, he would have had more than 3 beers.
I was thinking of Strange Brew, that movie, where he was gigantic inside the beer vat.
I just don't think so. I think this is on them.
All right. Either way, he's the one that got in trouble. And this is what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen. I only have one story here right now, Heidi. Usually I have way more than that.
Yeah, you do.
I know, but I got one story. But the good news is it's a good story. And it's about George Clooney. Adjusted receipts show that his movie, the new movie that he just did, took in only $2.8 million in its debut. Ranked 9th at the box office. And this has now given him 3 consecutive flops in a row. And there are people that are saying the George Clooney touch might not turn things to gold anymore. It might turn it to something else. So they're saying he used to be like a leading man. You put George Clooney in the movie, it's going to be successful. Where was the turning point, I wonder?
When he started lipping off about politics. That's
I don't know if that was it.
I do.
There was a movie.
He used to not say anything, and everybody was able to like him.
So people loved him from all sides. Now you're saying that there's only one side that likes him? Mm-hmm. So you think that's what it was?
Oh, yeah. Okay. And
well, then let's not talk politics because I don't want to have half the audience mad at you.
I really don't care.
Well, I do. And we're going to move on. Big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
John and Heidi.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international.
Call 800-719-5601 or learn more at radiosavings.com. Now your scoop of the day, the latest and greatest update for iOS. What's that? The Apple. What is that one? Mac? Anyway, whatever it is.
I really don't pay attention to this
iOS 11.1. It's the latest update. Anyway, it's out for people to download. And front and center in the release is a new bunch of emojis. Here's the thing.
Yay.
I could give 2 hoots about emojis. And I mean, maybe even not 2, like 1.5 hoots about emojis. I'm just not really into that. I can't think of a single time where I said, I don't have the words to use. I need an emoji. I mean, it's like GIFs. Everybody was all, or GIFs, whatever you call them. Everybody's all freaking out about how awesome that is.
I use those.
I just don't need those. I'm like, I
like to use those.
I'd rather just use my words, Heidi. Use your words, John. Use your words. Anyway, they came out with this new download or upload or update. Update. There we go. It's an update with downloads, not a download with updates. I don't know. Something like that. The new emojis. And there's an orange heart, which apparently nobody had ever thought of before. So this is a new thing. I can send an orange heart. Oh, yay. A bronchiosaurus. What?
A what?
A swearing face. What does a swearing face look like? Oh, it looks like Heidi. Look at that. It doesn't really. And a red scarf. There are, in total, 70 new emojis. And that, to me, is about 70 more than I need. I don't need any emojis. Hey, have you ever wondered where all your free time goes? Do you feel like you waste a lot of time throughout the day?
I do waste a lot of time.
Do you know anybody else that wastes a lot of time?
I know a lot of people who waste a lot of time.
Why are you pointing at me while you're saying that? Well, there's now a new way to solve the mystery with what happens to all of my time. Would you believe that it's an app?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
It's called Moment. M-O-M-E-N-T, Moment. And it's a free app that automatically tracks how much you use your iPhone and your iPad each day. It tracks everything from how many times a day you pick up your phone to time spent talking and texting and browsing.
Time spent talking.
Yeah.
For you, that would be if it was a pie chart and red represented how much time you spent talking.
It looked like Pac-Man.
There would be a tiny sliver of everything else, like a whole rainbow in this tiny little sliver of all the different things.
Pac-Man with his mouth closed. You spend a lot of time talking. Now, if you could get your mouth closed for 2 seconds, it would be awesome. All right. Hey, Rachel and Rob met over their love for books and coffee. So it only seemed perfect that when they were going to tie the knot, where would they get the knot tied, Heidi?
Barnes and Noble.
No, at a library.
Oh.
The two held their wedding at Minneapolis Central Library in Minnesota, sprinkled in literary details throughout their big day. On top of creating bookmarks for wedding programs and centerpieces out of stacked books, the bride's bouquet and shoes and clutch were all made out of pages from a book. Oh,
I think that's adorable.
I do too. I think it's cool. So if everybody were to do this for because they met in a bookstore or in a library, they have this love of books together. If everybody were to do this for their wedding, what would our wedding have included? A lot of booze from the sounds of it.
Yeah.
We met in a bar. I know that's a shocker for anybody that's heard me tell tales of Heidi. They're like, wait a minute, you met her at a bar?
You know what? At the time,
way.
I was not a drinker or a partier.
Here's the cool
I never
thing.
really went out at all.
I believe that it was absolutely positively a God thing that we met because I don't go out. I'm a boring person. Really am. I'm not a go out and have fun kind of guy. My brother made me go out that night. Heidi, at the time, was a single mother and never went out, ever. And her friends made her go out that night. Mm-hmm. And we met that night. And we didn't, hit it off instantly. Actually, Heidi tried to set me up with her friend. Do you remember this?
I do.
She's trying to set me up with her friend. She's like, hey, he's nice. You should date him. And the friend's like, no thanks. The guy's a big old dork. What a loser. And Heidi's like, oh, he's funny, though. You should date him. And then next thing you know, somehow we ended up together.
Yeah.
So there you go. And the rest, as they say... We should have had our wedding in a library. No, that's not what they say. Anyway, this has been your Scoop of the Day.
John and Heidi.
Have you been out of school for 10 or more years and you're still making your student loan payments? Are your student loans past due or even in default? We can help you if you qualify. Your student loans can be taken out of a default. We can stop the wage garnishments, stop the collection calls, and stop the seizure of your tax refund. Call the Student Loan Helpline now.
Call 855-380-FAST or learn more at radiosavings.com.
This is a fee-based document preparation service to help you access free government programs. Call for complete details, not available in all states.
John and Heidi.
And it's Thursday. It's the right time for Dear John Letters.
Dear John. Dear John.
You know, I look forward to this each week. I never, by the way, let Heidi see the letters ahead of time because I always want to get her honest-to-goodness reaction. Dear John, my neighbor and I have never been close. We share a fence line, and that's about it. We don't have a single tree in our yard, but he has a dozen trees. When his leaves fall off, they blow into my yard. I've never complained. I rake them up and I dispose of them. Over the weekend, I mowed our lawn for the final time of the year, and apparently my lawnmower blew some leaves back in his yard. If this even happened, it was not on purpose. He was on my front step yelling at my wife about it while I was gone. She wants me to go apologize. She even said that she would bake him some cookies. What? Why should I apologize? Why should she make him some cookies for being a jerk? Am I missing something? She was the one that asked me to send this to you. I wanted to go punch him in the mouth. Should I take the neighbor jerk cookies or a smackdown? Signed, Not Too Happy Neighbor. Well, I don't think you should take him a smackdown by any means because We don't condone violence on this program. Heidi does, but I don't condone violence because that would be a bad idea. I don't think that it was right that he was over yelling if there were some leaves that accidentally blew back. Now, here's the question I have.
Was it accidentally?
What
or
was
it
the
on
quantity of
purpose?
leaves? Was it your entire yard got dumped in his yard? You know, be honest now. If you dumped a bunch of leaves in his yard, then he probably has reason to be upset. But if, like you said, while you were mowing, some of the leaves, which is what it sounds like, happened to blow back into his yard, I can understand this.
Accidentally.
But that's where, again, even if that happened, the neighbor who was upset had no right to come, as you put it, and yell at your wife. No right to do that. You know, it'd be something where he could say, hey, guys, what's going on? But you don't yell at somebody over that. Like I'm saying, don't go give him, what did he want to say? Should I take the neighbor jerk cookies or a smackdown? Don't take him a smackdown.
You don't need to take him cookies either.
I don't think so. And I don't think you owe him an apology, but I do think maybe if it were me, I would go over and have a conversation and just say, hey, it kind of sounds like there was like a heated argument between you and my wife over some leaves. What happened? I mean, I don't even have any trees in my yard. If some of these leaves got blown back accidentally, I apologize, but I certainly didn't do this on purpose. I think you have a conversation, because here's the thing I can tell you. If you don't, and I understand you say you're not close and all you share is a fence line but nothing else, you share a fence line. Mm-hmm. Unless you don't want to live there anymore, or if you want to have really awkward, you know, every time you're in the yard and they're in the yard, go over. Don't let this become a major thing. I had a pebble in my shoe one time at an event, and I should have kicked that pebble out of my shoe right away, and I didn't. It was in there, and it was like I shifted around a little bit, but by the end of the event, it had worn a hole in the sole of my shoe, like just the little part you put your foot on, and that hole got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it all comes back to this tiny little pebble that I could have taken out as soon as I noticed it, and I didn't. Because I didn't, the pebble turned into a hole that turned into I needed a whole new pair of shoes. Don't let this be a pebble in your shoe. I mean, go over and talk to the guy. What are you laughing at?
That is so deep.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The hole in my sole was pretty deep, too, in my shoe. It was terrible. It was uncomfortable. All because of a little pebble. See what I'm saying?
Dork.
Go over. If I were you, I wouldn't take cookies, but I certainly wouldn't take the smackdown. I'd just go over and say, hey, it sounds like there was some sort of misunderstanding. I did not mean to blow leaves in your yard. But I wouldn't let it become a heated thing. And if he tries to make it a heated thing, just say, stop. We're neighbors. We don't need to love each other, but we certainly need to at least like each other. So let's try to make this right between us. But if it were me, I would certainly have a conversation. What would you do, Heidi?
I don't know. This really does not interest me at all.
Leave him alone by chance? Is that, no? Not your answer today? Hang on, I got to check on the calendar. You have not had an answer for, you've always had the answer. Leave him alone. That's not the answer this time?
Leave him alone.
Oh, see what she did there. Leave, because there's leaves. If you have a question that you'd like us to answer, or for Heidi to just ignore, you can certainly reach out to us. I kind of feel like we're all being ripped off by Heidi this week. Can you give us some answer? What would you do if it happened to you?
I wouldn't do any. First of all, I wouldn't have blown leaves back in their yard. I would have just raked them up and disposed of them like you're supposed to.
It doesn't sound like you tried to.
I find that very hard to believe.
Out there with his leaf blower.
I don't think that they accidentally blew.
I don't know how
that.
I accidentally blew 7 cubic yards of leaves back into your yard. It's your darn tree anyway. Hey, if you'd like to submit a question for next week or following week or future weeks, you can get those to us all through the same place where you can put your answer for this one. Can't wait to hear people talking about a smackdown over leaves. You can go to our Facebook page, which is simple and easy. It's facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free discreet shipping.
Call 800-296-1289 or learn more at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
According to Amazon, the most highlighted Kindle books in the world are what? What book do you think is highlighted the most?
I have no idea.
Oh, come on. Think about it for 1 second. What book would be highlighted the most?
Highlighted?
Yeah.
The Bible.
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't even have to think about it, did you? It was right there. The Bible, most highlighted book. Now, it might be tougher to figure out the second most highlighted book. What would that be?
I have no idea.
Steve Jobs his biography, not autobiography, the biography of Steve Jobs. And the third most highlighted book, The Hunger Games. I don't understand those two.
Really?
The Bible I understand because I highlight all over mine. And I don't use a Kindle, one of those things. Mine's just an app on my phone. Mm-hmm. And then like my real Bibles. But yeah, I could see that. Hey, another fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A California woman once tried to sue the makers of Captain Crunch because there were no berries in Crunch Berries. So she tried to sue them, saying, I want more berries in my sugary cereal. Couple of fun facts for you right there. Brought to you by RadioSavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Are you struggling with addiction or alcohol problems? If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help, and your insurance may offer coverage.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
Call the Addiction Hope and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares. Call 800-438-0380. 800-438-0380.
Now your word of the day. Cathanlacon. Cathanlacon. It's phonetically spelled out. It goes down another. I should have maybe fixed that before I read it. Cathanlacon. Catholicon. Cathanlacon.
Sounds like a word you would hear at a Renaissance festival.
Yeah, Cathanlacon. You are my father. No, maybe not that. It's a noun, and it is a cure-all or panacea. Panacea could be the word of the day tomorrow. Here's the sentence. Oh, come on, people. Thanks to a proliferation of new products, garlic has been made into a Cathanlacon of herbal health market. Cathanlacon. It's a cure-all. You know, there are some things out there that are a cure-all. Like, anytime you ever have a problem, people always talk about, have you tried apple cider vinegar? Like, have you noticed this? Everybody's using it.
You know what? It really does work for many things.
Trimming the hedges, and I cut my foot off with a chainsaw. Oh, have you tried apple cider vinegar on that? Rub a little on the stump, you'll be fine. Wait, the stump from the bush or my arm? I guess I said I cut my foot off earlier, so it was maybe my leg then. Either way, Cathanlacon is our weird...
No, it's not Cathanlacon.
What is it?
Look at it again. You keep saying Cathanlacon.
Catholicon. Well, that's not an N, that's an H. Catholicon. Like anybody out there even cares. Catholicon.
Well, somebody's going to start using the word Cathanlacon.
Oh, nobody uses any of these words. Even the guy that writes the sentences is like, what can I say today? This has been your weird word of the day.
John and Heidi.
Boy. IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guarantee. You may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe.
See if you qualify. 800-649-0142. Learn more at RadioSavings.com. Time now for some weird news. You ready for weird news, Heidi?
Sure.
I think it's time. An absent-minded shopper at a Maine grocery store last week took somebody else's cart with a sleeping baby inside.
Oh.
Wow. It caused a lockdown of the store and a police investigation. This happened in Portland, Maine. Police say the shopper was mortified when he realized his mistake, but he didn't bother to alert anyone. Instead, the shopper left the cart in another part of the store.
Oh, my gosh.
And then he went back and got his own cart. Police determined the conduct did not warrant any criminal charges, even though what a jerk-faced jerk man
just
for
leaving
doing
a
that.
random baby.
Oh, no. That's not my baby. I'm going to just leave it over here in the dairy section.
Oh, my gosh.
Anyway, the baby slept through the entire incident, so the baby was, snoozing and not concerned by any of this. Have you ever done that where you grab somebody else's cart?
I don't think so.
I did that one time. My cart was like on the end cap. And I went over in the aisle to get something over there, and there was a cart there. So I threw my stuff in that cart and started pushing it, and I had a dude go, hey, hey, hey. And I was like, what? He goes, it's my cart. And I looked down, nothing in that cart. Nothing even looked close to any of the stuff I needed. I was like, oh, I thought that was my cart. I have no idea why I thought it was my cart. I just wasn't thinking. But at least there wasn't a baby in the cart.
Yeah,
this guy took off with a baby. I've got a link to the story. It's our weird news at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
John and
Now your moment of duh. Eugene Thome, age 40, was arrested in Indiana, and he tried to race another car that turned out to be a police car.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. He picked the wrong car. He was driving a Dodge Charger, and he was trying to entice another Dodge Charger into a race. Quickly learned he picked the wrong car. A deputy in an unmarked Dodge Charger, so at least it wasn't like a giant badge on the side saying police. He revved his motor, and then he followed too closely. He accelerated in an effort to put space between the two vehicles. That's when the other vehicle had some fancy lights that came on. He pulled into a resident's driveway and fled on foot. Oh, that's not smart. After about a 100-yard chase, he gave up and was taken into custody. 100 yards. Took off running. Like, hey, okay, I thought you were going to give up. 100 yards, I'm done. Anyway, why did he flee? He had a felony warrant for a revoked license. He was a habitual traffic felony violator.
An idiot.
Yeah. Charged with 2 counts of resisting law enforcement as well. So it was not a good day for this young man. Got a link to that story on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international.
Call 800-719-5601 or learn more at radiosavings.com. Hey, before we get to our good news, I got a story here that almost made our moment of duh, almost made our weird news, but it's just a short story, so I didn't really have time, so I'm going to squeeze it in here. A Florida man, angry about losing his job, went to his former boss's home. You ready for this? Mm-hmm. Stole $2 off the countertop and then threatened the boss with a knife.
Oh.
And then he got chased off with a rake, and then he carjacked a truck.
Oh, my gosh.
There's a lot going on in this story. Nobody was hurt. The guy was arrested. Why would you steal $2? I mean, seriously.
Maybe that's all that was sitting there.
It probably was, but would it even be worth it? Because you're going to get in trouble for stealing that. Then he threatened...
I doubt that he made change. Like, there was a 10, and he put $8 on the counter.
I need $2. Here's a 10. You have 8 ones? Okay, here we go. So it's funny. He took $2 off the counter, got chased off with a rake when he tried to jump at the guy with a knife. So the dude has a knife and you come at... No, the dude has a rake and you come at him with a knife. That wasn't smart. Then he carjacked a truck. Well, didn't he truck-jack that truck? Can you carjack a truck? Either way. Nobody was hurt, and this is the tale that we didn't have time to squeeze into our weird news. But now we got it, and we got some good news coming your way. This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with some good news, and my beautiful bride, Heidi, over here, has given me some good news for the last week or two. You've been really good about this, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
And it usually is good news. Once in a while, it's not such good news. But today's good news. Here's the headline. Wealthy woman empties purse into homeless man's cup, but days later she looks for him, and it got crazy. Many might believe that homeless are highly likely to be rough or even unkind. Their experiences on the streets, like sleeping on an empty stomach without anything to keep them warm, can make them a bit rough. However, the homeless are often victims of violence and poverty themselves, and they might be empathetic and kind people in this society. An example is Billy Ray Harris, who proved that human people exist by returning an important item that a woman had dropped into his cup unknowingly. And this happened in 2013. Billy Ray Harris was a homeless man living under a bridge in Kansas City, Missouri. The 55-year-old relied on spare change from strangers to buy food. And it was an ordinary day, but then something unusual happened. Sarah, a lady that worked in a plaza there, saw him asking for pocket change. She was a wealthy woman from Kansas City. She approached and emptied everything from her coin purse into the man's cup. And she didn't even check to see what was in there. It wasn't until an hour later that he looked in the cup and found a large diamond and platinum ring. And it was a huge ring. He said, I knew that it was really expensive. You'd expect that homeless man to say, oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yep,
Thank you very much. Well, that's not what he did. Sarah Darling didn't realize the loss of her ring until the following day. And when she showed up at the plaza, she found Billy. Billy did not recognize her at first, but then realized that, hey, wait a minute, you're the owner of the ring. He reached into his pocket and gave her back the ring. Amazingly, his honesty, she said, I'm going to reward you with everything I have in my wallet. How cool is that?
Yeah.
In this situation, many people probably wouldn't know what to do, but he said, well, I knew it was right to hold on to that because I knew she'd be coming back for it. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Sarah and her husband, Bill, launched a fundraiser for Harris to show their appreciation for this heroic act.
I love this.
The couple had a target of $1,000. Guess how much they collected?
A lot more than that. Yes, I do.
You gave it to me. $190,000.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, and they're helping this guy get back on his feet because he did the right thing. So how cool is this? So anyway, and now he's finding relatives that people.
I'm sure.
His little sister had been looking for him, and now they're getting back together.
Now he's got $190,000. Those relatives that love him so much are just coming out of the woodwork.
Hey,
remember
brother
me?
Billy? I think you're my brother. You're not my brother.
Yeah, I saw you last week. You walked by me and pretended like you didn't see me. Remember?
Anyway, cool story. I've got a link to it at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great Thursday. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.